Hi, here I am. Happy Groundhog's Day. I hope that you are having a fabulous Monday. And can you believe it's February already? Holy cats, I am pretty blown away by this. So, anyhow, yeah, welcome to our next Monday Un-Madness. And we are going to be talking about the concept of the hope fear cycle when it comes to shifting our burnout mindset. And this has come to me from a lot of the market research that I've done. And some of you may be watching and have actually, did interviews with me, which I really thank you for. So anyhow, let's get started. Let's see, I'm losing my spot. Here we go. All right. So for those of you who have never attended a Monday Un-Madness session before, my name is Marissa Krupa. I'm an integrative leadership coach. And what I do is I specialize in helping mid-career women who have stayed in their roles too long, who have been either pushed out or are now burned out, to make their next career move with deliberate choice so that they don't fall back into a role that doesn't serve them, whether it's through self-esteem and confidence, or like in my case, take away prime earning years. So that's what I do. And I incorporate a lot of somatic and body-based coaching with that. One of the techniques that we're going to be using today is the mindfulness-based stress reduction technique. And that was developed by a fellow named John Kabat-Zinn in the 1970s. So if you can stand up away from your desk while you're watching, so when we get to the movement part, that would be great. We'll also be doing some journaling. So if you have even just some scrap paper nearby, it would be wonderful if you had that handy. All right. So the key thing really is to actually talk about what burnout is. There's a lot about burnout out in the world, and I've done a lot of research on this. So there's kind of a core definition that all of the people making the definitions decide on. And that's that, and this is me helping you to not go down that rabbit hole, right? Which I have definitely done. But if there's a sense of overwhelm and hopelessness and a lack of empathy, this is a thing that a lot of folks don't really talk about because it's kind of considered taboo. But if you are in burnout, you will feel like you just don't really care about the company. You don't care about your coworkers. You don't really care about the impact you or the company is making on the world. You kind of just don't care anymore. That is a very clear sign of burnout. And so that's something that needs to be acknowledged. It also includes feelings of stuck or uncertainty or just flat out fear about the future of your career. Burnout is also something that is not easily fixable with a pill or with alcohol or other vices, compulsive vices, or it's not fixable with going on a vacation. So if you've tried some of these things and you have gone to your doctor for anxiety medication, or you've gone on the vacation of your dreams and you're just not feeling it, and you're like, it's fine, it's okay, it was fine, it was, that's a sign of burnout. Like, again, that kind of apathy, that sensation of like not really caring much about being engaged in the world. And so if you don't address your burnout, study after study shows that it will lead to chronic health ailments like migraines, or it can even be so severe as to trigger something like an autoimmune disease. So like if you have autoimmune markers, burnout will trigger that for you. So the interesting thing about burnout is that what the researchers also agree on is that it's primarily caused by our mindset and self-beliefs from the person who's suffering from it. So when you look at this list of items and you think about what your mindset is about them and what you believe about yourself about these topics, this can begin to inform you about whether you are in the process of getting burned out or not. So for example, let's say you have a work philosophy that says work must feel hard or else I don't feel like I'm working. This mindset might be contributing to your sense of overwhelm by remaining in a job that's not a good fit for you. Because if you're not struggling, right, then you feel like you're not really working, or that like you're, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're not struggling at your job, then it's like, oh, but struggling is how I ought to feel because work ought to be hard. This is like a giant mindset thing. And so the idea of like going to live your dream career where you're happy and it doesn't feel like work, that's a giant leap for somebody with that mentality, right? So that's why these types of self-beliefs and mindset can really be the cause of the burnout way more than we care to admit. The good news, though, is that mindset and self-belief is all recoverable. Like you can recover from this. You can change your mindset. It's flexible. Our mindsets are flexible. Our self-beliefs are flexible. It is all skill that we can learn. So that hopefully is a point of hope. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this hope-fear cycle. So this is a very well talked about topic in like various spiritual circles. Like I know meditation communities talk about this. There are some Buddhist groups that talk about this. And so the hope-fear cycle is all about wishing and wanting and hoping for either working someplace else, having a new boss, or going into a different line of work, and yet being too afraid to actually pursue it. Sometimes the fear shows up as fear of failure. That's a pretty common one. Sometimes the fear shows up as fear of success. That's actually another common one, but a lot of people don't want to admit it. It can also show up as an imposter syndrome feeling, like I don't belong here. I'm not actually as good as people think I am, right? Being stuck in this cycle is a harbinger of burnout. It is quite emotionally and psychologically stressful to be in this cycle, especially if you have dependents like children. It's often scary to make a career move because what if you get it wrong and your income is cut dramatically and you've got little ones that you're trying to support? That's real. So some of the, like I mentioned, some of these spiritual communities really equate the hope-fear cycle as like the root cause of all human suffering. So I'm not going to go down that philosophy rabbit hole, but it's just to show you that like this is a thing that humans have been struggling with for pretty much since we existed. And to just know you're not alone. And that, again, this is all something you can recover from. Okay, come on, mouse. You can do it. Here we go. Oh, come on, mouse. Sometimes it just doesn't like to work. Okay. So there are a lot of different ways to overcome burnout. Burnout recovery, from my experience, does require a variety of techniques to really get through it. Belonging, though, is a word that I like, that many people have written about, and it's kind of a good like umbrella word or overarching word that encompasses a lot of how we overcome burnout. So we can have connections with all different kinds of people, including relationships at work and things like that, and still feel burned out. So I want to really highlight that. Just because you're connected with the people, you have a community, you've got a family, whatever, doesn't mean that that's automatically going to eliminate the burnout. The key point is that the connections are authentic. And with that authenticity, you can be your true self within that relationship. Think about it. Most of our work relationships don't really have authenticity in them. We have to wear some kind of mask. And so that putting on and taking off of the work mask can be often what starts to trigger the burnout symptoms and the burnout feelings. Belonging also means feeling satisfied with those connections. They fulfill you. You feel lifted up. Again, not so much in the workplace oftentimes. So how do we shift that? How do we change that? Another example is, let's say you're working on a project at your job that really aligns with your values. Let's say you're an environmentalist or an environmental scientist and you're working on a climate change project and you feel great satisfaction knowing that your project is helping to offset some of the effects of climate change for people, let's say in a poor community or whatever. So that is a sense of belonging also. It's like you belong to the project, you belong to the teammates on the project. So that can also be another aspect of belonging. And then finally, knowing that it's your birthright to feel a sense of belonging, to feel safe, to feel that you have a place in the world. That's a big thing around imposter syndrome. It's like, I don't belong here. Like, yes, you do. And that is another area of belonging. So that's why this belonging is a great umbrella word for a lot of different aspects of mindset and self-belief that will help to break through burnout. Okay. All right, so let's get into some movement. Before we get started, let's do our 1 to 10 scale. So in this moment of now, physically, mentally, emotionally, pick a number from 1 to 10. 1 is super awful. 10 is super fabulous. So where do you land in this moment of now? You can just keep it in your mind's eye, or you can jot it down. All right, now if you'd like to, you can follow me in these movements. You don't have to, but it helps. It always helps to get into our bodies. So I invite you, always an invitation, never a requirement, to step out of your, away from your desk. Let's see, where am I at here? There we go. And we're just going to start with a nice and easy grandfather's coat. So keeping your arms limp at your sides, feet are maybe hip distance apart, and just start to turn your body with your arms nice and slack, side to side. It's a nice, easy way to warm up the spine. Imagine you're a little kid, you've got your grandfather's coat on and the sleeves are brushing in the dust on the floor. That's my nice memory of that. All right, let's pause this. And what did I put in there? Oh, side bends, that's right. All right, so side bends, these are some of my favorites. So again, hip distance apart with your feet. Inhale your arms up and take your palms together like this, or you can clasp them and have them over your head. Oh, actually, no, we're gonna grab the wrist. Sorry, my bad. So take your left hand and grab at the right wrist. Arms are above the head. And now we're gonna lean to the left side. So you're pulling your right arm over you. You don't have to go super far. Ah, so good. Just breathe your normal breath here. Hang out. You don't need to go to your edge. Just get a nice side stretch. Inhale back up to center. Now clasp the other hands. So right hand over left wrist. Inhale, exhale. Bend to the right, so your right hand is pulling your left arm at the wrist. Easy does it, breathing. And inhale up, and exhale, take the arms down. Now for this next one, you can use a chair. I'll demonstrate both ways, or you can just stay standing. So if you're gonna be on a chair, like so, you would be on the edge of the chair, tilting into chair pose, okay? For those of you who want a more robust experience, I do recommend for this one to kick off your shoes if you can. So feet are hip distance apart. And now as we inhale, we lift our arms above our head, palms facing together. Exhale, sit down into chair pose, really pulling the belly muscles into your spine, and breathe. Alrighty, on the next in-breath, taking a nice big deep breath in. Exhale, keeping the lower part of your body stationary. Just tilt your body over your thighs. Your chest can rest on your thighs, totally okay. Fingertips come to the floor. And now as you inhale, lift back up. Again, bottom of the body stays stationary. You're just hinging at your hips. Take a recovery breath if you need to. Next in breath, lift up and in. Exhale, tilt all the way down. And inhale, come on back up. Pause, take a recovery breath one more time. Inhale. Exhale, tilt. Inhale, tilt back up. Pause, take a breath, staying in our nice, awesome chair pose. And now inhale, straighten all the way up, arms above your head. Exhale, press your palms away from you. Stand and breathe. If you'd like to, you can do mountain pose with your palms facing forward. Just pause and breathe here. All right, let's come back to our desks. We're going to do the 1 minute of stillness a little bit later. I accidentally put that on the slide instead of later. So that is okay. All right, so now let's start to explore this more. Get your journal or your scratch paper out. Let's start to identify what our biggest fear is regarding our job. So take about 30 seconds to write that out. So just free write, which is that you're not paying attention to grammar and all the things. And instead, you're just writing it out. So I'm going to hit the timer here for 30 seconds. What is your biggest fear about your work right now? All right, that is time. And now pause, put your pen down for a minute and just feel into your body because we did a lot of great movement today. Does this fear show up in your body at any point or any place? Let's say it's a fear of getting fired. Do you feel that in your body? And if you do, jot that down also. Where is this fear located in your body? By acknowledging this, we start to learn and deepen that body-mind connection so that if we're feeling something in our bodies, the question comes up, oh, is this XYZ fear? Is this ABC anxiety? What is this, right? And our bodies can start to cue us and we can start listening to those cues better. So now we're going to try an exercise regarding this fear, okay? So look at your writing and boil it down to just a phrase. So I used the example earlier of getting fired. Now write this down like, I am afraid of getting fired. You don't have to go into all the details, but I'm afraid of getting fired. And what we're going to do is an exercise that starts to break through this like mental obsession around our fears and starts to train the mind to understand that just because we're afraid of something doesn't mean it has to happen. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen. That really it's just our mind telling us this. And sometimes our mind doesn't tell the truth. Like that's out of habit, not out of any ill will for ourselves, right? So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to start repeating this question that you see on the screen here, which is, and then what happens? And so each time I want you to keep it short and sweet. Each time you're going to write down what you would do then. So in this example of losing your job, I'm afraid of losing my job. Okay, you've lost your job, and then what happens? Well, I go and search for another job. Okay, you're searching for another job, and then what happens? Well, then I get that job. You see, so that's what you're going to do is you're going to walk yourself through stepping through this fear. Okay, so let's start now. So write down that phrase on your paper. And this thing has happened. And then what happens? And that thing has now happened. And then what happens? Again, that thing has happened. And then what happens? And now this thing has happened. And then what happens? Okay, great. So we're going to end it there. But you can see, you can take this into infinity, right? This is a really powerful mental tool that shows you that just because our mind says stuff doesn't mean it has to happen. When you kind of step out of the fear and actually use your same mind in a more logical way, you can break through that fear, break through that mindset, and actually just step it out like, oh, I would do this, and then I would do that, and then I would do that, and actually everything is okay, right? And now we can get back to a more hopeful place, a more balanced place, a place with where you can make rational, excellent decisions for yourself and not go off into the deep end with, desperation and fear. All right, we're getting to the end of our time here. So let's do a little bit of reflection and wrap up. You can either write this down or reflect on these answers in your mind's eye. What was your experience like to write through your fear? After you did that writing exercise of and then what happened to your fear? Do you still feel it in your body? Check in with yourself right now. Did that fear go away, just disappear? And what do you feel now? And with this new feeling, what is the next right action that you can take in this moment or for this week that is based on the new feeling, not the fear feeling? So jot down your action and write down the day and time that you will complete this by. It's important to make commitments that we can keep. That's personal integrity, and it's a great leadership tool. So if you're busy this week, then you can push off this next right action until next week. That's fine. But then schedule it on your calendar and make sure that you set reminders, right? So if you're going to be doing your next right thing next week on Monday, put a reminder for Wednesday, put another reminder for Friday so that you don't let this slip by yourself. So this idea of being honest with ourselves and holding ourselves accountable is another huge mindset piece around burnout recovery. And so we're practicing that as we go. All right, now let's do a minute of silence and just connect back with ourselves before we leave our time together today. So I'm going to set the timer and we're just going to breathe. If you feel comfortable, you can either close your eyes or you can simply soften your gaze a foot in front of you. Hands are on your lap, palms on the thighs, back is nice and straight and upright. And just breathe your normal breath. Notice your chest as it rises and falls. Notice the quality of the air coming in and out of your nose or your mouth. with no agenda for controlling or changing anything, simply noticing. And that is our time. So now let's check back in with our 1 to 10 scale. 1 is horrible, 10 is fabulous. What are you feeling in all of yourself in this moment of now? So body, mind, spirit, what are you feeling? And write that number down or compare it mentally to the number you picked at the beginning. And hopefully the number is much better than it was when we started. That's my hope for you. So thank you for attending. It is always wonderful to see you and to share with you. So I'll be sharing now in the chat a little bit more about some resources. So you can always visit me at the website, which is ennobleleadership.com. You can also join me at the Svoboda community, and that's a really great place to get extra learning, extra information, and to connect with other like-minded people, find accountability partners, and all that sort of thing. So we'd love to see you there. And you can always DM me, right? So direct message me on LinkedIn. You can also always schedule a breakthrough call, a 15-minute call to further discuss any questions you have and explore more about what I do and how I help serve women just like you. All right, thanks again for attending. I'm wishing you a lovely Unmad week, and we'll be meeting again on February 16th. So until then, enjoy yourself and be well. Bye now.